Everybody's been talking about the brand new Dragon Ball game supposed to be getting in 2027, so that's next year. It's supposed to be called like Dragon Ball Age 1000 or something like that. There's no official name. I guess that's just the project name for now, but it's been pretty much revealed that it's Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3, but it might not be called that. It might be called something different. And featured in the trailer, Bandai had a brand new character that was designed by Akira Toriyama before he passed away, and apparently he's supposed to be a Saiyan, and pretty much he's wearing like Capsule Corp, gear and stuff like that, and we're supposed to learn more about this at the Dragon Ball Games Battle Hour 2026, which is a little bit later this year. But this is something that has a lot of people talking because why didn't they just call it Xenoverse 3? B, is this going to be connected to, the last two Xenoverse games in any way, shape, or form? Because like the first Xenoverse game, I feel was pretty good, but at the same time, it got overshadowed by Xenoverse 2, which came out right after. Because I think Xenoverse 1 came out in 2015 and 2 came out in 2017. And Xenoverse 2 sold significantly more than Xenoverse 1. I'm not exactly sure what the exact sales figures for the first Xenoverse game, but when it first came out, it did like over 1.5 mil, and it's a well-known fact that Xenoverse 2 sold more than 10 mil. And it's quite possible that Bandai Namco wanted to call it Xenoverse 3, but they just called it something else, or they might call it something else just in case this game doesn't, sell nearly as much as Xenoverse 2, or if it's not as popular. Because I honestly feel like Xenoverse 2 set the bar pretty high, and Bandai Namco, I believe, is still making DLC for that game to this day. And that game came out almost a decade ago. And it's crazy to think that's been almost a decade since Xenoverse 2, was released, and Xenoverse 1 came out more than a decade ago, and it shows you that time really flies. But I'm not exactly sure whether or not this new Dragon Ball game is going to be as popular as Xenoverses 1 and 2, because I feel like back in the teens decade, the Dragon Ball Z franchise had experienced a bit of a resurgence. And I'm not talking about just Dragon Ball Z, I'm talking about just Dragon Ball in general, because we also saw the debut of the Dragon Ball Super anime during the teens decade. A lot of people thought it was cool. Other people thought it was mid or subpar compared to Dragon Ball Z. But either way, it was really popular. And then you had the Team Four Star, Dragon Ball Z Abridged series going on during that time. And I don't know, all the fanfare that got basically brought more popularity to DBZ as a whole. So, yeah, I mean, I honestly feel like I don't think Dragon Ball is quite as popular now as it was during the teens decade. Don't get me wrong, it's still a household name, and people still enjoy like the characters and the games and stuff like that. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like games like Xenoverse 2 and Dragon Ball Fighters set the bar really high in terms of commercial success and all that stuff. And I feel like ever since Dragon Ball um, Z Kakarot, I feel like I don't know. I feel like the Dragon Ball Z video games in general has been slowly declining in terms of popularity, and maybe it's something that I don't know. Maybe it's something that was expected because you can only milk so much out of DBZ as a whole. But this new game sounds really interesting, and the character that you saw in the trailer for Age 1000 was. I'm not exactly sure if he's going to be like the main protagonist or if he's going to serve a Dudraganas type of role, similar to how Trunks did in the first Xenoverse game. But if that's the case, then that's something that some people might find as a bit of a letdown, because I believe in like the older Xenoverse games, you can choose like what race you are a part of, and if you're just one character and you can't really choose your race, then that kind of I feel like that's going to detract from the appeal for this game. But I don't know. I mean, I don't think I don't think like this game is going to be anything that I don't think it's going to surpass like Xenoverse 2 in terms of like popularity and in terms of like sales or anything like that. And the reason I say that is because the cost of the cost of gaming is going up, and the price for this game once it's released in 2027 or later is probably going to be something unreasonable. But then again, Bandai Namco, in my opinion, is one of the few major video game developers that hasn't really pissed off their fan base and alienated them like, Nintendo and, other, major video game developers. But but yeah, I honestly feel like if you have more, I guess, freedom and more like, in-depth customization options in this upcoming game versus the older Xenoverse games. That's something that can be seen as a strong positive. But as of right now, there's not too much we know about this upcoming Dragon Ball game other than the fact that it's supposed to come out in 2027. It's most likely going to be on PS5, PC, maybe Xbox Series X. I'm not too sure about the Switch too, but yeah, I honestly feel like this is going to be a big deal, and just like everybody else, I can't wait to learn more about this game.